Seeing as 6 p.m. on
Seriously? We're so mean to it.
Don't listen.
seeing as now 6 p.m. on February 10th, I'll call the Wage and Personnel meeting to order. Couple of announcements. The meeting is being recorded by Zoom. Anyone intending to make an audio video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. Not seeing one. Items may be taken out of order at the discretion of the chair. We've made this announcement several times. The Wage and Personnel Board needs a third member to be appointed by the Finance Committee. If you're interested in joining the board, please contact the Finance Committee or the Board of Selectmen's office. First thing on our agenda is an appointment. Keith Hickey, the town administrator, to discuss reclassification request for the position of Human Resources Manager to Human Resources Director, and 2 new positions requested for FY 2026, Town Treasurer Collector and Public Works Director. Pete, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Maybe I'll take the easy one first. At least what I think might be the easy one. The tax collector treasurer position, if you recall, was voted in as an appointed position a couple of years ago. We couldn't formally have the positions become appointed until each of the terms expired. The tax collector treasurer term, I think, yes, treasurer term expires. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Collector term expires July 1st of 25 at the or beginning of fiscal 26. The treasurer term doesn't expire until June 30th of 26. So what we have to do and what the state has indicated we have to do is to appoint an interim collector for 1 year, and during the last quarter of fiscal 27, excuse me, we're going to have to interview and appoint a full-time appointed tax collector town clerk. So this is
Town treasurer.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, town treasurer collector, I apologize.
So what happens to the town treasurer during this period?
Town treasurer remains elected during fiscal 26.
Okay.
And the treasurer's position becomes appointed.
And so if I'm understanding this correctly, the treasurer will go through fiscal 26. The collector will not be in fiscal 26?
Correct.
And will have to be appointed?
Yes.
Okay, and appointed for a 1-year term?
1-year term.
Can the treasurer,
Well, he'll be appointed on a temporary basis for 1 year.
can the treasurer be appointed the tax collector?
Yes.
So there is a possibility that the
Current
existing treasurer could be appointed the collector for that term,
yes.
and then the job open up for both
Yes.
at the end of 26.
Correct.
It's possible.
It's possible. Yep. Absolutely.
Or another person with the understanding they'd only have a serving time period of
1 year.
the 1 year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, all right, now that's, you understand it?
Yeah, I have a question, little question mark. If the collector is expiring 7/1/25
Yes, ma'am.
and the treasurer 6/30/26,
Yes.
okay.
1 year
If
later.
we assume that everything goes forward and we approve the collector treasurer, how can we have a collector treasurer in that's effective July 1/25? At the same time, we're also having a treasurer.
So right now,
That's
what I'm looking for fiscal 26, starting July 1st, 25, is to have a tax collector position, a temporary tax collector position for the fiscal 2026
okay.
budget year.
Just the collector.
Just the
Okay.
collector.
So you're
position.
not suggesting,
Not in the bylaw.
I think it can go, it's got to go someplace.
Right.
Yeah.
It's appointed like all the other appointed positions. So I think it makes sense to be in the bylaw. And then next year we could bring back and say, we're going to eliminate the,
Treasurer,
modify-
the collector position.
right.
And change it to treasurer collector.
Yes, sir.
all right, that's my question.
I
We're
know
not
it's-
suggesting,
I know it's awkward, it's a little clunky.
Yeah,
But
it is.
the state has said that what they always require is when they're going from an elected to an appointed position, you've got to allow each position to have their term expire. They can't be, unless they wanted to resign.
If they
If
want
they
to leave,
resign their term, then we would have had the opportunity earlier to have the position to be appointed.
okay. I was just concerned that if we're doing a collector treasurer, and then we have a collector because of the unexpired term, how are we doing this? But you're not doing that.
So I'm
You're not
looking to get,
suggesting that
I'm looking to have a collector treasurer position in the wage and personnel bylaw, because I'm going to need one
Oh, yeah.
sometime potentially as early as a year or 11 months from now to start advertising, and depending on who ends up getting the
Okay.
position, training to fill those roles. So what we're trying to do is proactively try to get that new position established in wage and personnel.
The collector.
The collector.
treasurer
the-
collector.
The treasurer.
Both.
You got two positions.
I need
You
both. I
want-
need two.
You want a treasurer
positions.
collector and you want a temporary collector.
And a temp collector, yeah.
So that's on me. I apologize. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
think-
No,
that's
it's
why I asked the way I did.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
So now my question is, budget.
Yep.
Do you have it built in for this collector position? And if so, where are you putting it?
So we've split, so right now, and we did this for fiscal 25, the treasurer collector position, the treasurer and the collector position are both budgeted. In each of the budgets, their salary has been split in half in the collector budget, half in the treasurer budget. And we would look to do the same thing in fiscal 26.
Okay, so
Okay.
basically so theoretically, if the treasurer could be appointed the collector, would they collect the collector's salary
Yes,
in addition to their own?
right. And it would be, very candidly, unless something unexpected occurs, would anticipate appointing as an interim collector, the existing treasurer for that 1-year term. He would collect the salary that he's basically collecting now, plus whatever adjustment wage and personnel may give wage and personnel employees for fiscal 26. So I don't know what the exact number is. Let's just say there's $40,000 budgeted for in the collector's budget and 40,000 in the treasurer's budget. Total of $80,000. The collector treasurer now is getting paid that $80,000. If that same person were to continue to assume that role, and the wage and personnel committee agreed to give a 2% cost of living raise to wage and personnel employees, then that person would get, 80,000 plus 2%.
Each position is about 75 each. Elected, if I remember correctly.
It's been elected. I don't have it in the budget in front of me, so I apologize.
Yeah,
I can go get
Yeah,
it.
I'm close in hemisphere, so it's roughly about 75 each. So my question is that you'll appoint a temporary collector at, say, the current rate,
Mhm.
75.
Mhm.
The treasurer will continue to get their raise, 75,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
So if the treasurer became the temporary collector,
So,
how do you square up his salary, because now he has two jobs? And the next question I have is, I don't think the state allows you to do that.
So he's doing it now.
thank you so much.
Right now, there's an elected treasurer and an elected collector.
Mhm.
He has both of those jobs. He's earning a salary for both of those jobs. So, right.
I think that's
He's not making the full salary.
right.
Right. But he does have both jobs. covered.
Yes.
Okay,
Interesting.
thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry for,
No,
No.
it's nothing to be sorry about. This is ground that no one, you're building this bike as you're riding it.
Yeah.
So there's no, you don't know what's coming. What,
sure.
I mean, we gotta figure it out. I get it.
So the HR manager to the HR director, I've been here now about 4 years. And I think if you spoke to Tina, and I think what she provided to you in the documentation, the employee job analysis questionnaire, you would see that the role has a lot more responsibility in it now than it did 4 years ago. dealing with, I think we're spending a lot more time dealing with HR related issues, whether it be salary surveys and implementation of the salary survey, participating in collective bargaining as part of the management team for that. One of the things that the town was not doing in the past, which was a violation, I think, of state law, the town of Kingston did not have a safety committee that we by law have to have. Tina has organized and is managing the safety committee. She has been applying for grants through our property liability insurance carrier, Maya. There have been times where we've gotten $20,000 and $30,000 grants for training of employees. If, for example, if we're seeing an increase in back injuries, for example, there may be a training opportunity offered through Maya that we have to competitively apply for. That Tina has received that grant, and we've received training through Maya or one of their consultants at no cost. So we've taken advantage of that in a variety of different aspects of the job responsibilities, whether it be confined space training for public works, police and fire. I'm not sorry, police and fire, water and sewer. When you dig a ditch, you've got the container that goes into the hole to make sure that people are safe. We don't have anything caving in on employees, all those types of things. We've gotten grants that provide safety benefits for our employees there as well. So we've seen some of the costs associated with our increased. We've seen some of the costs increases due to our health, our property liability insurance drop. Because of our proactive nature in trying to provide sufficient training for our employees to make sure that our workers' comp claims are down and our property liability insurances are down.
Do you still meet them quarterly?
Do we do what?
Do you still do them quarterly?
The committee? Yeah.
Yeah. Do they, the police and fire, do they still have the trailers
For driving.
for driving for police and fire?
So, since COVID, Maya hasn't had those. They've been broken, but police and fire, as well as highway and water and sewer, we're getting back online to getting all those things taken care of.
Because so it was, you could appreciably change the amount of
Liability on the fleet, yeah.
by being proactive and training. I mean, it's a wonderful, and it's
Yeah.
easy to do, but it's a little disturbing. Sometimes it's disruptive for schedules, but it's well
Yeah,
worth it.
and police and fire, especially police, they have a place in Bourne where you can go and actually use the car. So
You drive like
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'd love to try
Me
that.
too.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Can you talk a little bit about you sent a note after the last meeting regarding schools. I was kind of interested in that. So could you tell me, because that was one thing that we were kind of touching. First of all, she did a really good job. At the last meeting we were at, she pitching her own position.
Not mine, the incumbents.
So I give her a lot of credit because we did ask her a lot of pointed questions.
A lot, yeah.
Afterwards, the note I saw said, schools will talk about it at this meeting. So I'd like to hear about some of that involvement, because that's a real good example of how that job's expanded.
It has, and one of the things, and Tina can probably explain more of the day-to-day stuff than I certainly, but being in an office where the quarter or 1/3 or quarter admin lives in, you get to see and hear a lot of the conversations between hired and newly hired school employees looking to come in, get the documentation they're looking for, that they have to be complete to become a town of Kingston employee. the changing and the managing of health insurances, all the different other benefits that they have to deal with regards to the Kingston School Department.
So you onboard even the people in the schools?
Right, so,
You or your people, your
Yeah,
department
yeah.
onboards?
yep, for
The
KIS and
incumbents
KES,
department
yeah, for
onboard.
KIS and KES.
Yep.
Currently, it's the shared resource of the admin
Mm-hmm.
between Board of Selectmen, HR, IT. So here's how the position's kind of grown with schools. So the district, up until maybe 2 years ago, didn't have an HR person. Up until about 3 years ago, the relationship between the district and the town was payroll related. And so letters would get sent to whoever was sitting in the payroll chair, and they would meet with the employee to, here's the stuff you need to get into the system, and they went into the system. So at the same time, what was happening, but not being elaborated on again before the district had an HR director, is the town's responsible for KIS, KES, all the unemployment claims, all the workers' comp that's there, benefits administration, the payroll component. So once I started sitting in the chair, especially on the safety side, and kind of doing, at the time I was hands-on with doing the unemployment, most of that work came from the schools on the unemployment side. So kind of had to dive in to understand, like, okay, what's this one, this position, you know, the callbacks, how the substitutes work, all that other stuff. So learned more about that. And then the additional piece with workers' comp is we had a handful of cases over the last few years where they were school related. And part of the disconnect was there was no one connecting the KS, KES to the town to timely report these things, understand how to keep the school safe, blah, blah, blah. And so part of the committee, the safety committee, both the principals and their vice principals are invited to those. And they come quarterly. I put them in contact over the years with our Maya rep. So there's been times where that Maya rep will go directly to the schools, kind of do a walkthrough with them, like things about fish tanks, all these things, all these different things about keeping the building safe. Involved facilities with all of that, because ultimately if something happens to those buildings, it's on our dime and, you know, maybe their claim. And then so through that, so the HR manager role of town has really connected more with the school employees, with the district employees. Then a couple of years ago, the district got an HR director. And so that was the opportunity for more partnering to happen. And so the incumbents have really worked with the district HR to put new processes in place, whether it's, so for example, you know, we've put into place, we used to have substitutes that would just show up at your door, right? Any time of the day. And we weren't prepared for them. We didn't know what benefits they were getting, any of that. And so we've put a better process into place where there's only certain times of the week that we'll take them. So we've put that into place. Things like when terminations happen on the school side, getting me more involved ahead of time. I'm not going to say yes or no if the person should be terminated. That's more for them to decide. It's actually up to the principal to decide. But ultimately, any liability that ties to that is on the town, right? So if it's an improper termination, if we didn't pay the person correctly, that all falls on what the town's dime is. And so kind of really just working with the schools, the district to explain all that, work with them and getting the process together. So that's revved up. I think it was always there, but there was really no one sitting on this side to be like, we got to manage that a little bit better because it's costly and these are still our employees and they represent the town and we need to take care of them like we would any of them.
So is there direct line responsibility through the schools to you, or is it an advisory?
In what way?
In other words, you're responsible for the exit interview?
No.
Okay.
No.
You're responsible to make sure that the person's discharge is reported.
Reported.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's not line so much as it is consultancy
Yeah.
staff.
Yep.
Okay.
And then administration.
Administration, right.
Right.
And protection of the town's responsibility and assets. So, okay, and that's what I just didn't know how it interrelated. It makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
And, you know, I can see why they'd have one up at the regional, and you'd have to work hand in hand with it, which I'm sure there's somebody in Halifax that does it, and there's somebody in Clinton that does it, or you'd hope so. Because, they're all gonna face those same issues. So, no, that's good. I didn't know that.
Sure.
So I appreciate you telling me that. Okay. Do you have any questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just clarification. The school has an HR director,
Mhm.
Regional.
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake,
yeah.
Right.
right? So what they have at the school is for Kingston, Clinton, Halifax. They take care of all three towns.
So the district, Silver Lake District,
Yeah.
does all the hiring for all of them,
Okay,
manages they negotiate
Ins
their
and outs.
contracts through their different school committees.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually getting more involved in now, or at least KAS, KES. And then, so once that hire happens, that for KIS or KES, that's when this side of the house comes.
Who
into
does
play.
that hire?
They do.
Silver Lake.
They make the offers, they check all the
Okay,
references,
right.
they
So-
know
so-
the openings, all of that.
So they basically create the candidate, and then
Yeah.
the candidates, they hand the candidate to you to onboard.
To onboard,
Through the
to
schools
navigate through.
and your side of it. So the schools have what they need to onboard, and you have what you need to onboard for payroll.
KIS and KES
KES.
probably does this is how this building works, and
Right.
this is what your job's gonna be, but
And
other
this is
than
when you
that,
get
it's here.
paid, and this
No,
is how
that's
your
here.
health, that's what I mean.
That's here,
You
yeah.
say, this is when you get paid, and
Yeah.
this is how your health
Yeah.
insurance works.
Yeah.
Got it.
so
Yeah.
basically they're just doing specific school related.
Right, like,
tasks.
you know,
And she's
can I,
doing-
right,
And she's
right,
doing employee.
And she's doing everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the insurance piece
Okay.
and the workers' comp piece, I think Tina, glazed over a little bit. I think having the school department, which is, the biggest department we have in town, be more involved and acclimated with our workers' comp and our property liability insurance has been beneficial as well. For Tina being here full time, that was really falling through the cracks, and having conversations with Maya, when we do at least annually during the renewal process, I think that they've found that there's more collaboration than there's ever been with the school department and the town.
Do they still have to report incidents within a specific amount of time
they should.
without penalty? Because if I recall,
Mhm,
this is an arbitrary number, let's say if somebody fell
mhm,
and it didn't say, and they said nothing for 3 days,
mhm.
that if 3 days is the limit, and that, like I said, hypothetical number, then it's gonna hit our premiums.
So it hits our premiums anyway, but
Yeah,
so
it does
there,
anyway, but if
yeah,
it's late,
so,
So they've been,
it's a
I
penalty.
think so the short answer is yes. I mean,
Okay.
the school department, just like every department here, has to report within in a timely manner, any issue that may be a liability of some kind, an incident of any kind,
Anytime, yeah.
whether it be workers' compensation or property liability damage. If they don't do it within a certain time period, there's a risk of a fine occurring.
Yep.
We have not been assessed one of those fines because I think overall, everybody has done a good job
Everybody's doing it.
at notifying the appropriate insurance carrier that there was some sort of a claim, or I'm sorry, some sort of incident that we want to make them aware of the case moves forward.
yeah, the big part of all that involving the schools with those types of pieces, unemployment, terminations, workers' comp, it's just the education piece, you know what I mean? Like, I can't say that in the past, the school could be faulted if they didn't know they had to do it, right?
If nobody.
And no one was telling them, right?
Well, that's it.
So,
Nobody
right.
reports them, and if everybody knows that they need to explain that to all of the employees, that's the best thing.
Mhm.
But I didn't know if they were still doing it because it's something, it's very important.
Yeah,
It is
for
important.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're getting that kind of feedback from the schools to you, excellent. That's what they should be doing. All right, excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a lot of questions.
Other than-
all the
ask
time,
away.
I'll tell you.
Other than the proposed name change, what's the impact on the town?
Boy, if I don't have it in front of me, I'm with you. I mean, we're moving the grade, certainly.
Right, so go up one
Yeah.
grade.
Where is the incumbent now?
So the grade of the HR manager position is a grade 11.
Mhm,
The request is HR director go to 12.
mhm.
And then if you're talking money
This is
wise,
proposed. Sorry,
that's okay.
okay.
Are you talking money wise?
Well, yeah, what step is the incumbent at currently?
So I think 8 or
This is
9.
just for
Yeah.
public information.
So, right, so I think 8 or 9. So the typical
I think
formula,
it is not.
yeah, so the
Okay.
typical formula for a wage and personnel reclassification is, because they happen on July 1, is you take where the person would have been in their current grade.
Yep.
Add a COLA if it's gonna happen.
Yep.
And then put that number in
Close
the
to the-
closest step
right.
in the next grade.
Okay, so
With a, and
where does
with it,
that put it?
but to add to that, because it's a promotion, it's a, and the bylaw talks about reclassifications and promotions being, looked at the same, there's a 5 to 7% increase.
Then you get put it in.
Then you get put
Yeah,
it
there's
there.
something.
So
in it.
where is it going?
I didn't make a recommendation for.
No, but
obvious
you,
reasons.
but if there's a COLA
Yeah,
and you're going to step
it's either
10,
gonna go at 9 or 10 in the next one,
so it'll be grade 12, step 9?
or 10.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Okay.
I'm one of these people. So if you're grade 12,
Will be grade 12, this position.
proposed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Step 8. Currently,
8 or 9, I can't remember.
let's for the sake of argument say that the 8. So you'd have to go plus the 5. Give or take, right?
So,
And then the
so
COLA?
the next step, COLA, and then the increase of between
Okay.
5 and 7.
Okay. All right.
The income at step 9 in grade 11,
The incumbent is currently step 9.
in grade 11. Yeah, that's what I just said, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That's the wrong one. This is the one. I have cheat sheets all over the place. Dave.
Fantastic.
I'm a fan. All right, so you're a step 9. Currently. All right. All right, excellent. I almost brought my little calculator and I didn't, but he's got his cell phone, so that's good.
What you do, yeah.
A back of the envelope calculation is all I did.
Yeah.
And it would go up to the step now.
I agree.
Yeah.
Based on the bylaw, absolutely.
Yeah, and the again, public is roughly about over step 9 in grade 11 is roughly about $11,000.
But considering everything that's happening,
What's the budget for next year for the position
We have to adjust the HR budget to reflect.
if it's approved?
Mhm.
Got it.
Any other questions on that position?
What I'd like to do
Sure.
is take care of this position. I really wanted to take care of the treasurer collector position before we moved
I
on.
apologize.
All right, only because
I apologize.
that's all right. There's nothing in our world for that.
Right.
Okay, it's treasurer collector is not in our schedules. There's nothing in it. So we would have to create both positions. And based on the JAQs that we looked at and so forth, and the job description, that one falls in different. But let's take care of this one now.
yeah,
Okay, and then let's go back to that one, and then let's deal with the public direction. This way, they're done.
Thank you. I apologize.
Okay,
no,
you agree?
I agree,
Okay.
absolutely.
Um,
So do you
the
want?
net difference, let's talk about the net difference. The net difference really is that the incumbent would be going to step 9, would get a COLA, okay? So the actual difference between the two is more closer to about 9,000.
And that, if I could, that takes into consideration, I mean, if there was no change in grade, there'd be a $4,000 jump just in step.
Correct.
All right, so that's.
That's hence, instead of, that's,
I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
so it's about, it's between 8 and 9 roughly, okay?
Fair enough.
Again, I don't have any other questions. I mean,
I'm all right, I'm comfortable. I
Okay.
got all the answers that I needed
okay.
to hear.
The
only challenge or the only question I had, but I understand we talked about it the last meeting, because when I was doing the reclass or class, one of the issues was she had no supervisory experience, or no supervisors. She doesn't report to, or she doesn't report people. However, she's controlling and informing and assisting our mass of employees. So even though she doesn't have reporting people, she's responsible for
Everyone.
everyone.
Mhm.
So that was the only question I had, but I'm okay with that. If Jim is okay with that, I would prefer to give her a 5 and then no supervision, because I don't think she's not qualified. I don't think we should have no supervisory responsibility, because she's, up here because she's responsible.
Mhm.
So that was my only thing. Was you okay? I was okay with doing a 5 on her
Oh, yeah, no,
because of the level
Right.
and how many people she's responding
The
to.
position.
right,
Yeah,
and
I'm sorry.
The position.
Okay.
The position.
That position.
yeah, and I as well am fine with that.
Oh, good.
Question for you. Should we take a comment from the public if there is one?
Sure.
Gene, I see you on there. Is there anything you'd like to add? You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
No,
Okay.
I'm just observing. Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
just wanted to see if you wanted to add something to the conversation. Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks. Then I would take a motion, okay, to move that the human resources manager position moves to the human resources director title in our bylaw for FY 2026 for at a new corresponding grade with that would reflect a 5% increase per our bylaw and the appropriate COLAs. And it would take the position, if I'm not mistaken, from a grade 11 step 8 to a grade 12 step 9.
We don't put in the step. Right?
Okay, but a grade 11 to a grade 12.
Okay.
So that's a motion I'm looking to.
Okay. Second the motion. I agree.
You make the motion.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
So
I
moved.
moved.
So moved.
I know.
Okay.
I should have said so moved, but I didn't.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Okay, and then any discussion?
None.
Okay,
That was
Lorraine, I'll ask for the vote. Lorraine?
Yes.
Jim, yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Excellent job, guys.
yeah, and Tina, I give you a lot of credit for it. Okay, no, and honestly.
No, she's the incumbent.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not.
but in all seriousness, Keith, we count on her a lot.
Oh,
No question. So do
Okay.
I. I mean, with
Yeah,
with the
so-
the elimination
so-
of a,
You know,
I'm sorry.
in this environment we're in, it's difficult, to say the least. Okay, very, very difficult. But at the same time, I was not against voting for a finance director at a high rate, at the highest rate, because we got the right person. Same with the planning director.
Yeah.
So I'm saying the same thing to you. We got the right person.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I'll let the incumbent know.
Please let the incumbent.
What we do to her.
But I'm a firm believer that and Keith, I'm sure is the same. There's not a lot we can do to keep the people that help us do our job. Okay, because of the different rules and so forth. I mean, I remember sitting with Brad, God rest his soul, when he was doing his budget and he saved the town $50,000. And I said, Brad, I would love to write you a check for $5 grand. I can't. I said, but what I can do is tell me what you need next year so that I can make a good argument to the FinCom
Yeah.
so that you get what you want. They're gonna carve stuff back.
Yeah.
But let's not, it's one thing to carve back some fat, it's one thing to carve back a little of the meat, but what else can we help you with? And, you know, whether it's right or wrong, that's, to me, was the right thing to do. So, you know, you're held in high esteem. Okay?
So kind of.
So is the incumbent.
I'll let her
Don't let the
I'll let
incumbent
her
know,
know.
please.
Let the incumbent know that we're
Alright.
supporting her.
Can we go back to
Yes.
treasurer collector?
Back to
And then,
So,
if
can
you,
I just fix the wording in the motion?
please,
Okay,
Yes.
so I'll put in schedule A.
yeah,
Okay.
please.
Yeah.
Okay. So if Pete, if you're okay, can we go back to?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when I was reading the job description of the treasurer collector, the one thing I noticed was a grade 11, and that the supervisory required would be the town administrator through the finance director, town accountant. So the reporting committee, the reporting structure would be this person would report to the finance director and then to you.
Yes.
Okay. With the finance director having the direct report.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
One quick question in this is, what about policy establishment? Today, I was a little confused when I read it. About how much impact they have on policy. And the only reason I'm asking that is that, you know, I assume that this person, like our past elected treasurer, will make recommendations in terms of investment account, funds, and so forth.
Absolutely.
Will there be a reporting structure then to the finance director? that's
Yes.
For
Oh, yeah.
approval?
So yes, I mean,
Okay.
so that the treasurer collector will, you know, make recommendations on policy or policy changes. Those policies will be reviewed and approved by the finance. Yep.
Okay. Now, going back to what we initially discussed. So we want to create a treasurer collector position, and then we want to create a temporary collector position. Okay, and the temporary collector position, the establishment would be for a 1-year term.
Yes.
Okay, with no open to what? Appointed by the Board of Selectmen?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I'm asking that is there's no JAQ or job description of the collector.
I do have one. I actually have both.
Okay, there's treasurer collector,
Right.
but I don't have collector. So I could move tonight to appoint a treasurer collector position. But then I'd like to get the information on the collector to both of us
Understood.
so that we could formally
Understood.
go through the same process.
Absolutely. Happy to do
Okay.
it. Yep.
Okay.
I just think it's a little more,
That's fine. Happy to do it.
you know, do
Absolutely. No, that's fine. Whatever you want to do.
okay, and again, this treasurer collector position, is it, subject to any more modification from the select board or anybody else? Once we stick it in the bylaw?
No, and Tina has worked with the incumbent
Yeah.
or incumbents
Mhm.
and have worked with other collector treasurer job descriptions in other communities to make sure that it's been properly worded. If there was a need to come back to you, it would be sometime a year from now with any potential modifications. I think what you have there this evening really is to establish the position within wage and personnel. So when we go out and recruit next year, we have a position in the existing wage and personnel bylaw that will allow us to identify and present the job description and compensation package when we look to advertise and interview a candidate.
So currently, we have the elected treasurer, and we have the elected collector.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This position would not reflect at all on what they are currently doing and or currently being compensated. It would be a new position that they would both be eligible to possibly apply to. Okay. And then the new position will have the establishment of the grade 11 salary requirement.
So I apologize for being a slow guy in the conversation.
I'm just trying to-
No, I appreciate that.
I'm trying to hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
and
I
put
get it.
back so I
So,
understand.
so right now, I have an elected treasurer and I have an elected collector. There's one person doing both of those jobs right now. The collector position, the term of that position expires June 30th, 2025, 4 months from now.
Which position?
Collector.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Unless something unexpected occurs, the person who's currently working as the elected collector will become the appointed collector and will
Okay.
continue with the same responsibilities they have now until June 30th, 2026. At June 30th, 2026, the treasurer position will no longer be elected. The position will be filled, advertised and filled as a collector treasurer position. So the individual who's sitting in the position now is collecting a salary for both positions. That salary is also having an elder moment is the same as within a couple of percentage points, for cost of living adjustments as what we propose a year from now. That person's getting those positions are getting paid are being paid in the grade 12. I'm sorry, grade 11 salary area now. So when the town approved the appointment of the collector, and we had one person run for both positions, we met with that person and we modified the salary range to reflect a combined position, and have been moving forward in that on a temporary basis until both of those elected terms expire.
And can I just add that when the compensation study happened, the elected collector, elected treasurer, and elected clerk went through the whole process individually, and those positions were graded at a grade 11. And since then, even though the town votes on their salaries, that grade 11 has been the grade that it's based on.
Yeah, because it's both.
And do they move through the steps based on?
It's every year that gets voted on,
Yeah.
so until those
So the
positions end
next,
up in.
if it's a step 2 this year and it becomes step 3 next year, then it'll go from 86,238 to 89,533.
If that's where
And
it's
that'll
at.
be the
Well, again, there's nothing that says they'll get a step,
Right,
right? Because the step technically
That'd
only
just be the-
applies to the,
wage of personnel.
wage of personnel or KTU, whatever
Right.
whatever's in the
Doesn't
contracts,
apply
right?
to elected.
That's
officials.
right, that's right, yeah.
Okay. So I would definitely like the temporary collector's position
Mhm.
to be written out, rated, proposed salaries, the whole bit. That makes just a lot more sense.
Happy to do it.
Treasurer collector now that gets to my next question, which is if the 3 elected positions were all basically in grade 11.
Yep.
How are we taking a combined position and leaving it in grade 11?
So the way I looked at it, and the way I
That's
always,
what I want to hear.
yeah, so the way I've looked at it, a few things. So whenever someone comes forward with, I think the position should be reclassed. Like, one of the first questions I ask is it quantity of work that's going up, or is it the caliber of work that's going up? And when we looked at the separate job descriptions and then combined them and did the JAQ, the leveling of the work is the same. What a collector is doing is the same as what a treasurer is doing. So together they're doing the same caliber of work. And that's already been established, and that's a grade 11 because of the study. So unless we're looking at the bigger picture of where all the positions fall, if we're just going by the numbers of the JAQ, then it would remain in the 11, because it's the same caliber work. It's just now there might be more of that work because you're wearing both hats.
So the only real difference, if I could,
What about side of staff?
well, that's what I was gonna say. So you've got a couple more people than you had, than each position had. So collectively, it's a couple more people, but again, reflected in the JAQ, doesn't change the scoring enough to bring it to like 12.
And where did you bring?
Did me?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I was looking, going, why does it look wrong? Yeah, it's because I have the wrong one.
At least you get to answer the question.
Let's see. Okay, I came in, pretty much 655,
And where does that fall in the chart?
grade 11.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
And so the piece about the size of the staff, I just have
It's
it.
in the category, it doesn't break the category.
It's right,
Close
because,
enough.
well, so,
That's what I thought you might
It-
say.
Yeah.
kinda depends.
right, so it's,
Sorry.
where
No,
is
you're
it?
fine.
So like level 3,
Yeah,
that's a staff of 2 to 5.
right.
And so those two departments collectively have 2 to 5. So a new position is still gonna have 2 to 5.
I understand.
Yeah.
No, listen, the way I'm looking at it is I'm all for it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just making sure that we're at the salary level, we get the right person.
I agree, 100%.
Okay, I don't want to have another step 10 conversation.
No, I
So
understand. I get it.
so that's the reason why I'm asking these
Sure, no, I
questions.
appreciate that. No.
You know, you're combining the positions. We're gonna make it an appointed position. It's gonna go through a pretty hefty interview process.
Mhm.
And I assume a background check.
Multiple.
Multiple, because then according, because they're gonna be handling the town's funds.
Yeah.
So,
Everybody.
what, will this person pick up the payroll responsibility?
So payroll is transitioning to the finance director.
So that, and that person can assign it to anybody under there.
They could,
So they could possibly, or keep it in their office.
Right.
Okay. Because I know payroll's moved around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. A little bit.
I mean, it went
So-
from treasurer to HR back to treasurer.
Right, that's why I'm saying, that. So, all right, so that would be part of this process as well. Okay.
So the only thing we're really missing is the collector's job description.
And the
Current.
proposed salary and the proposed
For the collector.
For the
For
collector.
the temporary collector's position,
Yeah,
correct.
okay.
Okay, so,
Can I
so,
can I just ask a question? I don't mean to interrupt, I apologize. but
Yeah.
I'm just
Go right ahead.
thinking more about this. Is a temporary position, like a temporary collective position, is that typically a wage personnel?
no,
No,
It's a temp.
To make you, to make them-
that was, what I was going to do, honestly, was establish the treasurer collector
Yep.
position and then toss back temporary collector. You guys figure out how you want to handle it.
So I
especially
think,
if it gets appointed. It'd
Right.
be one thing if we were gonna hire a temporary, but
So you follow what I'm saying? In other words, I wanted it off my plate.
and I'm
Because,
happy to take
because,
it back.
because, right, because I don't want to turn around and create it and then get rid of it.
Understood.
Yeah,
Okay,
not crazy.
so,
So,
um,
so is it, just to make sure we're on the same page, so,
if you want to bring it as a job and wage and personnel, do the work. If you come back to us and say, you know what, we decided we don't need to, we're not the
sorry.
regulating body.
I apologize, and I was thinking through,
It's
the process
What are the
sitting here.
selectmen gonna tell you?
understood,
Yeah.
so we'll
If
talk
the
about
selectmen
that.
tell you, put it in wage and personnel, then I
Understood.
want you to come to us for a complete,
Fair enough,
that's the right
Thank
way to do it.
I appreciate it.
All right?
Yep.
So I'm okay with a treasurer collector position as described in grade 11,
Correct.
okay?
All right. Approved.
So I would make a motion,
Okay,
or describe a motion that you can say so moved, that we create a treasurer collector position
okay.
in the bylaw in grade 11,
Schedule, I'll fix that.
Schedule A, right?
Schedule A, yeah.
In grade 11, as of FY 26.
Right. So moved.
Okay, any more discussion?
Question.
Go ahead.
If, let me think about this. We have town treasurer, town collector. not necessarily on the Schedule A. Because what I
No, it's not.
found, it's not
No,
on the
they're not.
Schedule A, and the assistant treasurer,
Right,
Is
and
on.
that's a position.
and
right.
that's a position.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about the collective treasurer that's currently in,
So there's two positions. There's an assistant
yeah,
treasurer, and that's an exempt position that's
Correct.
in wage and personnel.
yep,
And then there's an assistant collector, which is a non-exempt position, and that's currently in KTU.
okay, excellent, okay, awesome, thank you.
Okay, so I'll ask then for the vote on the motion to establish a treasurer collector position in the wage and personnel bylaw in grade 11, Schedule A. Lorraine,
Yes.
yes, Jim, yes. Thank you.
All right, so we have this. We did do the treasurer
Okay, so
collector.
sorry,
I
but
appreciate
just,
doing that.
I
I like it better.
it's just a little
Yep,
more.
I agree.
compartmentalized. This way we can go, she can go back to each part of the meeting, and if there's a problem. we can
Absolutely, I get it,
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
So
All
the
right.
last piece.
The last is the Public Works Director.
That's a headache. You have no idea.
No more, no,
No, I keep reading it and going, okay. Because, again, I have questions, but that's okay.
well, first of all, why don't we, if you don't mind,
No.
indulge me, explain the position. What do you see it as?
So I see the Public Works Director position overseeing the existing streets, trees, and parks, building maintenance,
Facilities.
facilities.
Facilities, okay,
um, having direct oversight of staffing for water and sewer. And working with the water and sewer commissioners to establish policy, establish, guidelines, and then having the public works director having the overall responsibility of operating the water and sewer departments as well as the departments that currently operate. The water and sewer commission would be, as I mentioned, would be policy setting boards, would not be responsible for the hiring of the public works director or any of the staff in water and sewer. The public works director would work, as I mentioned, with the water and sewer commission to identify projects, utility needs, both short-term and long-term. And I think most importantly, work to plan improvements that may impact all three of those departments collaboratively, rather than
We're digging up the street this day, you guys just come out this day, regardless of what else you do.
yeah. So again, it's been a little sensitive, frankly. The water and sewer commission have put a lot of time and effort into, and I'm not trying to, and again, during this process, it's got nothing to do with what they have or haven't done. It's trying to become more efficient and effective in operating and addressing the needs of the community. And
So I, in my travels,
Yep.
and what I do,
Sure.
I'm in a lot of highway departments and DPW.
sure,
So I was in Dartmouth, and I happened to ask the guy, "What's the advantage?" And he said, "Well," he goes, "first advantage is that snow plowing, the whole crew can now plow snow." Okay, if it meets contracts, if
Yeah.
it meets this,
Yeah.
if it
Sure.
meets that.
Yeah.
But in other words, those agreements would not be done unless it was with the understanding that there's an umbrella.
Right.
And that umbrella could cohesively work together, as Keith said, on projects that a director could make more sense of from the standpoint of execution because of assets and so forth, and moving those assets into place. Grants was another one that they brought up. So again, I'm friendly with him, I understand it, so I just picked his brain.
Absolutely, sure, yeah,
Because I said, I don't understand why they want to do it, but tell me what the advantages are. So when I heard those two things, I said, makes sense. So then I said, what's your public works director, how qualified? And reverend was the best word I could use. In other words, this person had basically an engineering background, if not a licensed engineer, had the ability to also be cross-licensed through water and sewer or come out of that world. So just a wealth of knowledge. Reporting to me. So ultimate response, reporting to you.
so town administrator.
Income.
The income.
I was gonna say that.
I was gonna say that.
Right, no, and I think it's important because, you know, I haven't watched study committees, I haven't
Sure.
watched any of that type of stuff, and I think this is a position that, again, borrowing that cliche I use, build a bicycle as you ride it, because I think this position is going to evolve.
Absolutely.
Okay, but I do think that my overall understanding of it is that this person is the type of person that can bring now currently separate assets together in a more focused way to do what's best for the town.
Yeah, you know, again, I agree with what you said completely, and just to maybe expand upon that a little bit, I'll give you an example. This past weekend, had a storm, right?
Transfer station.
The transfer station's closed. Why is the transfer station closed?
They have street and
Because-
park people.
Because I had to grab, I had a handful of 3 or 4 employees over at Street Street Park.
Yep.
That had plans for the, they weren't, they can't be mandated to come in and work overtime in the winter. So we pulled transfer station employees. I've got some water employees that are willing to come in and work.
Yep.
Frankly, I even had the water superintendent say he'd come in and work, which was incredibly generous of him.
Sure.
We asked the sewer superintendent, he just wasn't available, or he would have. Some of the sewer staff aren't as willing to come in and work during a snowplow event like occurred this weekend. So, you know, to your point, I don't have to deal with that anymore, or I should say, the Public Works Department doesn't have to deal with it anymore. We've got a plethora of employees, and then when we need to pull somebody because of a sick day or a vacation day, or what have you, we can do that. You know, working collaboratively on a project. So to your point earlier, you know, we're going to make repairs to this road. Is there water there? Is there sewer there? If there is, do we need to make accommodations for those 2 departments to make sure that we're digging the road once, and we're doing it with one contractor, one engineering firm, and one project manager. So to me, I think it takes into consideration the ability to just have the overall responsibility of all the staff and equipment that the town of Kingston owns to do a specific type of job, which we don't have now. And because we are now an MBTA community, and grants become much more prevalent to communities like Kingston, who is an MBTA community, we want to have somebody in place who understands the bigger picture of, you know, we can apply for a grant for, you know, streets, safe routes to schools, or a variety of different grants that are out there. Oh, by the way, when we look to potentially reconstruct Main Street, is there water and sewer underneath Main Street? I'm not worried about what's above and only what's above. I'm also looking at, you know, what's below that roadway, so we can make whatever improvements need to occur as one large project, and potentially apply for and receive grants to do, you know, the work under the road as well as the work on the road. So, you know, it's like a lot of different things. It's this idea just is an involvement of modernizing, you know, the Public Works Department to work in unison with each other. The position is going to be somebody who is going to have an advanced degree or you know, a PE license, be able to read plans, be able to potentially engineer plans. So some of the work that's occurring now that we're having to pay consultants to do for us, may not need to be done anymore. With the help of a consultant, we've got a public works director who can, comment on or oversee and review some of the design work that's being done now by an outside company. So, I'm proposing for consideration of the Wage and Personnel Committee to have this position be in a grade 14, same grade as the police and fire chiefs. This position will, I think, be as important to this community as those two positions, and have the responsibilities that are consistent with those two positions. So, in the streets, trees, and parks budget for fiscal 26, I've included an additional $35,000, which is what I anticipate being the need to fill that position if it were to be approved at town meeting. The study committee, I guess I'd call it that. We haven't met for probably almost a month now. Some of it's frankly because of my schedule, because I'm out 2 or 3 nights a week and just haven't had a lot of availability. I'd like to have another meeting if I can sometime next week with them. Really, it's at the point now, in my humble opinion, where that committee just needs to vote whether or not they support the public works director position. I think overall, the majority of the people probably do see a benefit of it. It would then go, obviously, if this group supports the position, it would be in wage and personnel, and we'd have some bylaw changes that we have to bring forward at town meeting that would need to get approved as part of the reorganization, and if everything were to be approved, it'd be effective July 1st.
One of the questions I had for you was, when do they anticipate the final report and recommendation on this committee?
So I would hope that we would have that report to the Board of Selectmen in the first meeting. I would hope the first worst case scenario, the second meeting in March.
And where did the Lorraine, the JAQ score come from?
Depended on who. The JAQ came in at a 770 G14,
So right at 14.
right at grade 14.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the only question I differed on the classification was bodily harm. That was I did not give as many points until I really looked at it again, and then we're referring to bodily harm. To me, that just notches things up. Again, you're talking about trench diggers and sewers, and that the likelihood of a body injury, it's there.
It is,
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying it's horrid, but
Sure.
it's, yeah.
They probably won't be in the hole. They could
Yeah.
be standing above the hole, looking
And
into the
fall
hole
in.
certainly, or something happened in the hole that impacts
Absolutely.
them standing above it. So
Yeah.
they certainly aren't going to have the risk of the guys that are the ones in the hole, but there's risk there certainly.
There's
Where would
risk.
this person physically sit?
I would assume they'd sit over the streets, trees, and parks at this point.
periodically out on the road, because.
Well, they'll be on the road
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
especially, during the construction season.
Yeah. Okay.
But at this particular time, probably over at streets, trees, and parks.
So that was good.
Okay.
Hopefully
Um,
first or second.
Just a
Sure.
observation.
All ears.
And again, it has nothing as it relates to
It's
this.
fine.
But I personally would, if I was Keith, elevate it a little bit more and put it under the house.
I've thought about, putting it someplace in here. We do have an open office upstairs that's available. We'd like to, if everything goes according to plan, we'd like to shuffle some offices down here, so the collector treasurer is in one spot, rather than some upstairs and some downstairs. I completely understand what you're telling me, and it's not hard.
It's only, my only reason is that, after I did a little homework.
Yeah.
It really is important that the position is created off the first step correctly and presented correctly and executed in a correct way.
Yes.
Because of the fact that you're going to morph what currently is out there into something. I think if you want to do, my advice, and
Sure.
for
I appreciate that.
whatever it's worth,
Absolutely.
I would turn around and make sure that I would change everything so that everybody understood that this position is a position.
Fair enough. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
just-
I hadn't thought about it that way.
You know, it's just because I think honestly, it's a good move personally. I think it makes a lot of sense. It gives the town a lot of flexibility and coordination. And the fact is that we're not just dropping a water line on a side street like we did 10 years ago. Okay? Every project is kind of major. And
It can be, no
and
question.
like you said, with the consultants that we have to hire and bring in, the outside engineering firms that we have to hire and bring in, and nothing against, we have good people. There's nothing against our people. Our people are good people.
Sure.
It's just that the requirements to maintain the grant, requirements to maintain everything correctly, requirements to work on the state roads. It needs I'm in favor of a little higher caliber person. And I think somebody with that background that you're talking about in terms of education, but you know, I like the idea. I'd like to see it happen. I'm in favor of putting a placeholder in place called DPW director, and with in a grade 14, and say, you know, now take the subcommittee's recommendations, the select recommendations, your recommendations, and put together you know, something that takes all the pieces of the different departments, puts them together, and the one is better than the many.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's exactly what we're trying to do. I think we've got the pieces we have in place now are really, really good pieces. If we can bring somebody in to kind of be the orchestrator of and oversee the entire organization, that part of the organization, I think it'd be a real benefit to the community.
And I think one of the key jobs or duties of this person that I would suggest you add to this description is someone who can coordinate closely with. Sorry. Go ahead.
No?
Coordinate closely with the county.
Yes.
Okay. In especially there are certain assets that towns, they're getting expensive.
Very expensive.
Okay, you know, you want to buy possibly a new vac truck. Well, Kingston needs a vac truck for 3 months of the year. Duxbury needs one, and Plimpton needs one, and
No
Carver.
question about it.
Somebody who's in that position who could work closely with the county commissioners to establish some sort of a lending co-op program. Okay, on some of these larger assets.
Absolutely.
Would take the costs and spread it over many more people.
No question.
So, so that's one job idea that I would add to that position. It's not your job.
Understood.
It's because, you know, you don't know that they need a D3. Yeah. Okay, he does.
That's right.
Okay, and he knows that the guy in Plimpton or the guy in Carver has, and now how much it's going to cost and who can coordinate all that.
No question.
Okay, so I see that, and the same thing with sewer and water. You know, there's capacity for certain things here that maybe we could transact into something in a neighboring town.
I agree.
But I think it needs to be done with someone with that kind of vision.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep,
So-
absolutely right.
So I would make a motion, if you want to possibly move it, Lorraine, that we approve the DPW director as that would be Schedule A, Jen, in Schedule A,
Great.
at a grade 14, to be created beginning and brought to town meeting as a new position for FY26.
So moved.
Okay, any more discussion?
No.
Anybody else? No?
Thank you for consideration.
You seconded, right?
Yeah, I'll second it. Lorraine
Yes.
and Jim, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry to put you through it.
No, listen, these are important decisions. I'm happy to come in and.
Would it be
provide those.
director of public works or public works? director? Does it
Public
matter?
Works Director
Public
is the
Works
title
Director.
on the job description.
Um,
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
All right. Yeah, I'll just move on, but before you leave, I do have a quick question.
Sure.
Or maybe Tina can answer, but I'm gonna skip to 2, and then after that, that's up to you. I think.
Whatever you want to do.
So,
See, what can you call it?
yeah, what the status of the email from Tina Betty, Human Resource Manager, dated August 21, 2024, regarding cost of living adjustment for FY 26. So 25 is in the books.
Yes,
Okay, 26, what's the proposal?
2%.
Is that in following with the contracts that are currently out there with the exception of schools?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that is the final year of the contract.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is that built into the budget?
It is.
Okay. I know I'm not supposed to ask some of that stuff,
You
but
can ask anything you want.
it is our meeting.
Nope, you ask whatever you want.
Okay, so I guess what I would do is take a motion for discussion, Lorraine,
Yes,
to approve the COLA, the cost of living adjustment for wage and personnel employees for FY 26 at 2%.
so moved.
Okay, any discussion?
And then,
Okay, and again, I think it's the fact that we typically try to stay with the contracts from the standpoint of fairness. We don't have to, but I don't think it would be the right thing to do, even under this trying environment. I'll call for the vote, Lorraine?
yes,
Jim, yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right, so that's for all the schedules.
correct.
Okay.
So do we have to deal with
With the
schedules C1
exception-
and C3?
except for, there's no COLA on there, counselor.
instructor. Okay,
Yes,
so wait, since the 2% is in the budget, then the cost of the wage and personnel article,
It's a separate budget.
well, we don't have to put the 2% in there if it's in the budgets already.
So the contracts have the 2% in the budget
Oh, but
already, but
wage
you
and
guys have to put
personnel.
that.
Okay.
So
through.
the budget will have to be adjusted for the vote we just passed.
Yeah.
So we'll have to get the new.
Yes.
You don't have it in there,
finance
do
director.
Are you
For
already there?
wage and personnel?
But it's a separate.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I plugged it into the operating.
But you have it in the
budget,
budget.
so I-
Oh, okay. So
All
it'll
right.
be difficult.
no
to get.
surprise,
No,
no surprise.
okay,
It's just the one
So-
counselor position.
so
Right, so
do we
schedule-
need to address it? Number 3, dated email
would.
from Sue Woodworth dated November 27th, Parks and Recreation Director regarding changes to Schedule C1 and Schedule C3 for FY 26.
It's just that one
Yeah, if you wanna do it.
counselor
Just that
position, no change. Just that one.
Thanks, guys.
All
Appreciate your
right,
time.
thank
Oh,
you.
have a
See ya.
good night, Pete.
All right, thank you.
You're an excellent incumbent.
She's not talking about me, she's talking herself. I think.
Talking about the incumbent.
All right, so-
You're an
so-
excellent incumbent for a TA.
Wait, okay, so when would you need the material, the handout for town meeting?
Probably
Do you
tomorrow.
know yet?
100%.
April 1st,
Oh, my birthday.
is that reasonable?
Yeah, so,
April, town meeting is 26th, I think, of April. I mean, first week.
Yep.
First week and a half of April. I mean, I don't know what,
all right, so there are no language changes, so it'll just be the schedules. Right?
Yeah,
maybe
because
some
there's,
positions.
Yeah, those would go on Schedule A.
Yep.
So you don't have to do anything to track changes, it would be too confusing.
What about the acknowledgement?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't we'll come back to
Yeah,
that.
okay, that's
I
fine.
skipped
You're right.
that one.
But.
Have a
okay,
good night.
April-
Nice to see you. Thanks.
See you,
good to
Keith.
see you
Thank
again.
So as far as, I guess what I'm trying to figure out here is, based on what I'm seeing, if we're going to adjust Schedule A, B, C, C1, C2, C3, and we're going, do we really have to carve out the counselor at $15.53?
I would.
So
You know
want-
why?
But Sue doesn't want the minimum,
Right,
but
can I make a recommendation?
Yeah, please.
Can you just, instead of having a dollar amount, can you just put minimum wage as the wording? And so going forward, if minimum wage changes, it's automatically part of it
Yeah.
for that position.
That's the language that she's using. wage requirement. She's not talking about keep 15 something. She's
No.
saying
Right, but in
Yeah,
the, in
so it
the
makes sense.
schedule, it's $15
it has to.
It's
Yeah,
1553.
or whatever it is. Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
1553.
I'm so confused.
I'm looking at it right now. It's 1553.
Remember it got increased.
Oh,
and
you're
she
right.
didn't
I'm sorry.
realize it?
You're right.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So, right, so I don't think. we
You
should
can't do that now. No.
No.
So, so the
Right.
question is, so what I'm saying is, a motion would be to, adjust all the schedules for the proper, COLA adjustment, with the exception of Schedule C3, counselor instructor at 1553 per hour.
And the minimums, because Sue asked that the minimums remain the same.
What?
Schedule C3,
Yep. She wants all the minimums to stay the same.
right, she
Of
just said
maximums.
increase the maximum.
Maximums. Yeah, and I'm fine
Increase
with it. All right,
ranges
so
of
you know what?
maximums.
So let's,
So I can fix the motion so that,
it just relates to C3.
Yeah.
And it relates
Exactly.
to the counselor instructor at 1553 per hour.
right, so that would remain the same.
Yep.
And then just the maximums on Schedule C3.
Would reflect the COLA.
Right.
Okay, I'm fine with that. So you can construct it. Are you okay with that? As a moving?
It makes sense.
So
It
move
makes
the-
sense.
Move the motion. The motion
So
is,
moved.
okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
I'm
didn't
sorry.
you already vote on the COLA?
We did, that's what we did. That's why I asked, do we need to do
Correct.
anything about 3? But we have that one exception. So I'm just taking care of the exception.
The exception.
Shouldn't I make that part of the other motion?
You certainly could.
I think
And
that
then it would be easier.
Yes, I
Yeah.
will
Okay.
do that,
All right, I would accept that friendly amendment.
yes.
And I have absolutely no argument.
Okay,
Okay.
so I would then,
I'll fix it, okay.
yeah, I would then adjust the motion for the COLA to reflect a non-COLA for counselor instructor in Schedule C3.
And the minimum rates in Schedule C3.
And the minimum rates in Schedule C3 would be as they are currently in the bylaw.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, so that's the adjusted friendly motion. So moved.
So moved.
Okay, I'll second it.
Yes.
Yes, Lorraine, Jim,
Yes.
yes.
Jennifer, can you send me the wording of that motion so I can send it to,
Yeah, let him look at it. Yeah, okay. That way
Alright.
she's.
It
fine with
happens sometimes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll send that.
All right, so I'm just gonna go back down and come back to the receipt.
Okay.
Tina, we took care of the reclassification, for human resource management, human resource director. We took care of the town treasurer, and we took care of the public works director. So that brings us back to review draft of bylaw acknowledgement of receipt form for FY 26 was discussion item number 1. I saw, the revised form. I didn't have any issue with it, but I know it was revised based on a suggestion that Tina made. So my question to Tina is, are you okay with it?
yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so that was the only question I had.
Yep.
Lorraine, did you have any questions?
No, none at all. They were clear. It was very
Okay.
clear.
So,
I had the line go all the way over to the left, that
Mhm.
second line, but then it kind of blended in.
mhm.
So that's why I put it under.
As long as there's a space to identify, yeah.
Okay.
all right, so I would ask that that the Wage and Personnel Board accept the bylaw acknowledgement receipt form for FY 26 as written.
So moved.
I'll call the roll. Lorraine,
Yes.
Jim, yes. Okay, so now review the minutes from January 27th, 2025.
What about my update?
We'll get there. We're gonna get there. I just figured it was just the last thing I
It's
had
all
to
good.
do,
It's all good.
and then I'd come back. So
I mean, last time I didn't have anything and I want you to think that's every time.
all right. So the minutes of January the 27th, I read those as well. Did not have any problem. Do you have an issue?
There was a sentence that just disappeared.
Help me.
Wait, I thought you
Okay.
said one of my.
There's a
sentences?
missing words in the BOSITHR position.
Wait a minute, hold
All right, so we need to go to I need my glasses. It was what happened was it was like the
Cut off,
sentence,
Yeah,
yeah, it was
of the
cut
job
off.
description, yeah.
Right, so I'm just trying to figure out in the minutes.
Sentence was cut off.
A sentence
Yeah.
was cut off in the job description for the admin assistant,
Oh,
board of selectmen,
oh, I
HR,
thought you meant there
IT.
was a sentence
Well, I
missing
don't
in the minutes.
I think it wasn't addressed in the minutes. Is that what you're getting at? I mean, I don't read the
Yeah.
minutes, so.
I put words missing.
Words missing, yes.
Right.
And those were the words that there were,
Did you want me to, first I had end of sentence and then I changed it to missing.
yeah, because it
words.
was the end of a sentence that had just cut, boom,
Yeah.
right in the middle of it.
All right, so you want the minutes changed to say end of sentence?
No, no, no,
Oh, okay,
no.
sorry.
What do you want me to do?
Okay.
no, leave it be. Can we just pass on the minutes and because to make sure that I'm properly addressing where the missing words were? Because I don't have the job description with me right now.
They were
Okay.
at the end of the sentence.
Yes,
So when I did the draft of the minutes, first I put in end of sentence and then I read it again. I was like, well, maybe I'll just put missing words. But are you saying in the minutes, you'd rather have the end of the sentence?
no,
missing?
I just want the sentence where it should be.
The
Right,
team
but
of
I might,
words-
right, I'll update the job
There you
description,
go. That's it.
but in the minutes, you don't want the specific,
I don't think it was identified specifically in the minutes.
Oh.
I just have the notes that
Let's see.
I was missing.
Wait, a minute, let me see what I have. Lorraine Bergio noticed
Words missing in the job description under accountability,
in this,
and Miss Betty will check on that.
is that all right for the minutes?
That's great. Yeah.
You're
that's
okay with
great.
it?
Yeah,
Okay,
because it's identified, we'll fix it. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, but just so that you know, I did put end of sentence and then I was like, well, I'll just put.
Kind of
missing
doesn't
words.
make sense though,
Yeah.
in a sort of kind of way, but thank you very much. No, I
okay,
appreciate
so
it.
there's
Okay,
a
so you're
motion on the
saying- all right.
floor,
So the minutes are fine, it's just Tina
right?
needs
yeah,
to.
that's
fix
on my
the draft.
to-do.
So the motion is on the floor to approve the minutes, and as written.
As written. January.
So I will ask for a vote. Lorraine?
Yes,
Jim, yes. Okay, so now let's go back and do Tina's update.
So excited.
Sorry, Tina.
No, it's all good.
Okay,
It's really not much.
again, it's
I was gonna say. she
discretion
had-
of the chair to
I
take
know,
out
I
an order.
get it,
Sorry.
I
She
get it.
took the last 2 meetings and took control, you know how
Now
that
I'm gonna
HR
have to
people
change
are.
it when I do the minutes. No, it's in the clerk, I can just change the item. I can just change the order.
So, the vets agent and the RN both started last
Okay.
week. The, director of elder affairs is gonna be appointed tomorrow and starting Wednesday, it's the current interim. And as such, there will be a posting at some point for the assistant director of elder affairs to be posted.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, so is the assistant going to the director?
Yeah, she's the interest.
All right,
And,
so- Oh, Nigeli?
yeah.
Naomi,
Yes,
yeah.
I liked her.
Holly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's-
I've dealt
Yeah.
with her before.
Yeah, I met her,
So the assistant.
I met her last week.
Oh, at the senior center.
That's right.
Because you're old now.
Wow.
Too bad I didn't live in Kingston, because then I could go with you guys.
You can go to any council on aging. Somebody told me that.
You
Really?
can.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
people that go from town to
Yeah.
town
Yes,
on council, because they have different events.
Oh,
Yes.
so when you guys go, I could go.
yes. You can come and make friends and I learned that when I was talking to somebody at the club and she goes to Duxbury for
Certain
road
things.
trips,
and-
yes.
Right,
Yeah,
Oh,
she likes the
wow.
road
Yeah.
trips.
Okay.
And I went, oh, I don't live in Duxbury. She said, you don't need to.
No.
And I went, I did not know that.
That's right, yeah.
So you learn,
You
Yeah.
think you can go to anyone?
you can go to
Like I
any.
could go to the one in Long Meadow where my sister-in-law lives,
Mhm.
because they
Yeah.
have an inside track.
Oh,
Mhm.
do are you a member of the Council on Aging? All you have to do is sign your name. That's pretty much very
Well, I
straightforward.
signed up in Yarmouth.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'm,
You should ask Holly.
Absolutely, give her a buzz. You're an employee, because you
Yeah.
are an employee.
That's true.
but I mean,
But they
No.
give you a key fob,
Yes,
and the key fob is scannable. So the other council of aging may use that to grab your data.
Yeah, at the desk, there's a little,
I didn't know you
thing.
really had to register, so this is
Well,
something you need to register.
I just
for.
said,
Like
hi,
when
I
you-
need a card, and they sign me up.
Mhm.
And I
Alright.
have this, like the Stop
Stop
and
and
Shop
Shop
thing.
cards, yeah.
It's the same thing for the Kingston, the Council on Aging. You walk in, you go, hi, how you doing? And
All right,
Well,
yeah,
I
it
think,
makes sense, that way.
They're
they can
tracking
keep track
data.
of-
They
Yeah.
can treat
Yes.
who's using it,
Right.
and
Yeah.
how long, what they're
And plus
doing.
they know
Demographics and.
That you
Yep.
should.
it's a great
that you
tool
could-
to be able to tell them what people are using. And you sign in and you click on whatever thing
You're
you're
doing
doing.
that day.
Yeah.
Alright.
Tai Chi or the movies or something like that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
there's
Very
a-
high tech.
Oh, wow.
It's
All right,
a-
I'll have to check
It's
this out.
a really good asset. in this thing.
Mhm.
So, I would encourage all seniors to use it. Because, they really go out of their way to make you feel welcome,
Mhm.
and B, to let you know what programs they have available. So,
They need the
Has Keith-
socialization, especially when you're into like a higher 70s and into 80s.
Yeah, it's
and
too
it's
bad
very
my father
difficult.
wouldn't go.
yeah.
Some
Has-
people are
Since
funny
my
like
mother
that.
Has Keith, looked at all into, using the veterans agents shine, qualifications over at the senior center?
I know that the veterans agent has been to the senior center, so
Okay.
maybe they're talking about it amongst themselves.
Okay,
Because I know
just-
they have a shrine person over there.
They do,
occasionally, yeah.
they do have a shine person, but it's just that what I was trying to do when, we had our meeting was to take advantage of her
Sure.
ability. And however the funding was done, to get the funding to cover the town.
Yeah.
Or that person, keep it local.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with the other person was
Yeah,
fine,
yeah.
okay, the other person was great, I mean.
Yeah. I don't know if
but,
we pay for that though.
The state does, and there's some sort of a mechanism that is, and I asked Keith to look into it
Mm.
at our meeting when we decided
Yep.
the veterans agent, and because to me, it was a way of getting that person.
Yeah.
It goes back to the others. If these people are good, and you want to keep them.
Yeah.
Let's find ways to find the money.
Yeah, find the money.
Okay.
Read the minutes, I put them online.
Yeah,
Before I left, and you'll see what Keith was gonna check into.
Okay.
Right,
about
so
the
I
show.
just didn't know if he had mentioned anything, that's all. Was there anything else, Tina?
No.
Okay, well, thank you for the update.
Thank you too.
All right,
Great.
is there anything else on the agenda that I skipped around?
All right, so,
The date of the next meeting is,
Oh,
go ahead.
St. Patty's
getting
Day.
back to the COLA, so I could do a drafted schedule.
Correct,
Yes.
I could even be scheduled right with the new position.
correct,
That's all I wanted to say.
okay. And
Actually,
if
there's
you could
nothing
ha-
left for
If you could
you.
have those for us for the March 17th meeting and have it on the agenda, but to look at as an action item, it would be a
Okay.
very good thing.
Sure you're done with that?
I was just thinking that,
Wait a
yeah.
minute.
There were no,
I
Yeah.
thought we'd. need
there was
to
no
move forward.
language. There are no,
Well, Tina's right, we have the form, that's the only thing.
That's it.
And then for town meeting, it would just be the schedules,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
There's nothing
the
else.
schedules and adding.
Those are the two positions that we
positions.
created, and the collector position, let them deal with it,
All right,
since it's a
so,
temporary.
Yes,
all right, so they would all be full-time exempt in the, in Schedule
yes.
A.
Not the reclass for the admin assistant.
Right.
Board of Selectmen
No,
HR.
I'm
It's like-
talking
The
about.
two new
the
positions.
directors.
So the
HR
director of Public
Public
Works, yes,
Treasurer
and
collector.
treasurer collector, yes.
And then I'll see if I'll ask you about the group,
Well, the point I'm trying to make is that March 17th should be a meeting where we try to wrap up as much as
okay,
we
all
can.
right,
Yeah.
that's fine.
So that, you've got plenty of time, to get whatever
April
has to be
1st,
done,
okay.
right? Okay, and that we're
My birthday.
perusing it on the 17th. And then there may be something that comes before us, between now and then.
Okay,
Okay, but I think it's important that we frame it out, that the idea of the 17th is to get ourselves as prepared as, get our first pass at town meeting.
yes, because then our schedules will need to go to the finance. director,
Correct.
but I'm sure she doesn't need the schedules to do
The only thing we really want to give it some thought to is making sure that we have the Public Works Director recommendations from the committee first.
And again, I
you
think
know,
that'll be part of the update of March 16th.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay,
yeah, hopefully they can come in with their recommendations and stuff prior to that, because I think if we did it opposite, that wouldn't be a good.
no, I think, I think honestly, it goes back to our discussion in November when we asked them to have it done.
Yeah, in January. Remember
So,
that?
yeah, so. that
They
we
won
could-
in February
yeah,
and we
we
said
pushed them to
January.
January.
And they
so-
got to you in December.
And honestly, it did give me honestly a little time to do my own homework.
Sure.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
have an opportunity to see people that we don't normally see.
well, it's, thank God, because
I'll take anything.
I just wanted to hear, and I don't have all the answers on it, and I didn't talk to 25 people.
No.
But I just happened to sit with those people and ask the question. And by the way, these were employees. This was not the Public Works Director.
Mm.
These are
Okay.
the worker bees.
What, or the foreman.
Yep.
Okay, and they were very aware of what the person did. And they were also very aware of how it helped all the jobs that they had to do. And by the way, they're much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a college in town,
Which
yeah,
town was it?
UMass Dartmouth. They have
Oh, you were
Dartmouth.
Dartmouth, that's where you
Yeah,
were.
so
Yeah,
they have,
longer,
they have a lot of big increase in population in the summer. They take care of bridges that are moving bridges.
Working bridges, yeah.
So.
Railroad.
Yeah, over
Shipping.
the harbor and
Yeah.
stuff. So they're,
Oh, excuse me.
So if Keith is saying that the committee should have recommendation to the Board of Selectmen by Tuesday, the 25th, by the 17th, is that what you're saying?
He said
He
either
said
the
the
first or
second-
second
I
meeting.
thought he said the second.
He said
So the
first or
second meeting is the
meeting.
25th. The
Oh,
first
all
one
right.
is the 11th.
So the 11th is probably kind of quick. I mean, but they're not doing anything.
Yeah, I don't know where they're at, so.
Yeah, he said they haven't been
So-
able to connect
All right,
because of
so the
schedule.
selectmen's the second meeting. Oh, that's when you're supposed to present your recommendations then, right? Isn't it March 25th?
Maybe.
well, we've already.
Wage
voted
and
on it.
personnel to present
Oh, yeah,
bylaw
they've already
recommendations,
voted on
March.
the
Yeah,
position.
so we
Yeah,
voted on
that's
it.
the 25th.
We did our job. As
Right.
far as getting you the placeholder.
Yeah.
I think now what the study group has to do is.
But not
finalize.
anything you guys need to do to move forward, but that's how I was understanding
Yeah,
whatever was just
no,
talked
we-
about, so,
There's no reason that they're waiting on us.
Yeah. or you're waiting on that.
Right.
Yeah, I think he said it was a scheduling challenge for the
Yeah.
committee and to him.
All
Okay,
right, so if we meet the 17th, and if you really need to go meet with the selectmen on the 25th, that would give you enough time, right?
all right.
Give it a hit.
Okay, is there anything else for the good of the group?
Good luck with our budget at the finance committee meeting.
I know, gosh,
Yeah, it's easy peasy.
They'll be good.
I know,
Give Carl my best.
I always do.
Anything else for the good of the group?
Nope, we're all set. Now, March 17th is the next meeting.
I'll take a motion to adjourn at
Uh,
7:34.
So moved.
I'll second it. Lorraine?
Yes.
Jim, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.